Well, I've got a fresh battery in the truck here that is reading actual battery voltage. So let's go find out if these skid plates that I built make a difference. Just dropped my controller, shouldn't have done that, but here's the skid plates I'm talking about. This is the one for the front. This is the one for the rear. Welcome back to Altoona Crawler Paradise, also known as ACP1. There was an ACP2 briefly, but I sort of abandoned that one because it was kind of a dumb trail that really wasn't that fun. It wasn't that long either, and it took a lot of maintenance to take care of it. So what I am here to do today is check and see how the skid plates work. So far, nothing has tested them. We just dropped in, but I'm going to intentionally drive this thing over obstacles that should challenge the skid plates. It wouldn't hurt to stay in the shade too, because it's a little warm out, not bad. The bugs have already found me. There's a rear skid plate, just heard it run. You can hear it when it drags. And it did not stop the rear axle's forward motion at all. There's another plate run. There's a front plate. No loss of progress. Another front plate run. I'm going to point it right at the rock this time. It's into the plate. Probably on the front side of it. My objectives today are to see how they perform and see also how durable they are. Push it right over the front here. Have I bent it the wrong way? No, it's right on the plate. It's also on the center. Slid right off the front plate. Probably aimed that wrong. I'm sorry if I did. I'm intentionally trying to run the skid plate over rocks just to see how well it slides. There's a front plate slide. That was alright. I have to do some strategic crawling here just to make sure that my progress will not be hindered. Uh-oh. That was the wrong thing to have done. That is on the center. Now it's transitioning to the rear axle. I do have the flat Vader skid plate on this. Real front axle. It's built. I got Desert Lizard shocks on it, plus my own shock modification that I do. I feel like it just improves the stability of the truck overall. I've done videos on what I do to my shocks, so I'm not going to go through all that right now. So far, not much has stopped this. That was not the case yesterday. And I know it's sort of anecdotal because I may be driving better today too, we don't know. I try to drive well every day. Doesn't always happen, but bugs in your face make a difference sometimes. I'm going to try to not pick up a bunch of mud in this section of my tires. And I'm probably going to do this entire video in one shoot unless my camera cuts out. That way people know that I'm not editing out the fails. I'll show you the fails. I have no problem showing you if it does or doesn't work. I don't care. The whole point of being out here is to find out what works. And if I can't figure out what works, I want to figure out what doesn't work so that I can go in a different direction. So all the data is valuable in my opinion. All I know, I'm not seeing the hang-ups that I saw yesterday. I haven't even hit the rear steer hardly at all. I am approaching the section that gave me problems yesterday with the diffs hanging up. Also sounds like I might need to go through my bearings and figure out which ones need the oil. Just cruise right over the point of that one. Now I'm on the center skid plate on the Vader. My axle's clear. I don't know if you can see that, but the diff went right over it. The skid plate did not. That is on the rear. So I will call one legitimate rear axle hang up right there. That's the first one that's happened today. And it came right off without too much trouble. Sliding it over the front one. It's on the rear axle again, but it's actually on the plastic part that is not protected by the plate, as you can see there. Working pretty good. I have not had the front axle stop this a single time. I've had one hang up on the rear so far. But again, I don't believe that was on the protected part that I built. That was off to the driver's side of it. As as I tried to show you in the video shot there a few minutes ago. I'm going to take it right over the center. You heard that ting ting sound? That was the skid plate running, the front one, doing its job. One of the nice things about this is it does protect the steering linkage in the front. I think that steering linkage is one of the things that gets caught a lot on these trucks. Got a little bit of an undercut on the right front. Deal with that. On the front skid plate, both tires are in the air in the front. So let's try to work the back up. I'll see if I can't push the whole truck up with the front skid plate here. Just ride the skid plate up. The back wheels are in the air because it's sitting on the rear axle. The tires aren't even touching the ground. So let's see if we can't remedy this. There we go. Happy with that. I don't know how much of that we can blame on skid plate or not, but it made it. I can tell you the skid plate itself didn't hang it up. A lot of people were saying that metal skid plates don't slide well. Well, seems to be doing okay to me. I'm on the Vader skid plate here, the center one, and it's high enough that I've got both front tires sort of in the air. So I'll try to work this around and see if we can, there we go. That's where it likes it. But it wasn't caught. It was just hung up on the center. It didn't dip out, it framed out. Another Vader ride plus front skid plate. Shouldn't have ran the rear steer like I did there. Put the whole truck sideways. And I'm taking trees down with it now. It's literally sitting on the rear axle right now. But it wasn't caught, it was just sitting on it. The back tires are in the air. Let's see if we can find a way through this. On the front plate, but it rode it. That's one of the benefits of it. That's why I build these. You can ride the plate. It's almost like having a center wheel on the plates. Goodness gracious, this is amazing. How about that? Turn it on the Vader plate. Rotated the entire truck on the center skid. That was kind of cool. Oh, look, there's a garter snake. I'm bothering him right now. I've seen you before. I'm not here to hurt you. I know you live here. They are not poisonous. They won't bite you. Well, they might, but wouldn't hurt you too bad unless you got infected. I'm not worried about him. He doesn't want to hurt me. I wanted to go up this way. I'm not sure it's going to let me. I'm on the Vader plate again. Touching right there, and also kind of mid-door on the other side. If I can get the back to climb, I can push the front through. Yep, how about that? Get it off the Vader. Here we go. How about that? Dumped it into a little hole. I still have a good approach angle. Gonna plate slide it up. My steering linkage is protected. And being protected, it's not stopping my progress. On the center Vader plate again, you can see. I'm intentionally being silly with it now. And let's see what we got going. Alright, now I am deep on the plate there. But if it wasn't on the plate, that would be hitting the steering linkage already. So with the plate there, I could ski it over. With the steering linkage, it wasn't going anywhere. Let's see how I can do this. There's a linkage or a plate ride. It to do something it doesn't want to do. There's a rear axle slide, not a hang up. I'm going to go over the point of this thing here just to show you how you can center diff ride when you have a skid plate. If I can get enough push from the back tires anyway. That's riding that plate. Takes the place of that driver's side front. I don't know about y'all, but I felt like that hung up way less than it did yesterday. 2 videos ago, you saw me driving this out here, and I hung up multiple times. Before I got halfway to the creek, I hung up multiple times. And every time we hung up on this day, it proceeded. So, the rear diff plate is in place. It's got a few scratches on it. How about the front one? It's still exactly as it was. Still sitting at ride height. So, I don't know. If you're a person that believes that skid plates are always bad, metal is always bad, feel free to continue believing that, but I've proven to myself here today, if not anyone else, that a well-built skid plate that has no sharp edges, no points, that you don't want the edge of a plate to be able to touch a rock. You always have to hit it on the smooth side. It's kind of like, would you rather go down a sliding board or staircase? Well, if you're going to go down the stairs and you hit the flat part of the stair, you're going to stop. So I would rather be on the slide. And to me, it just makes sense. I'm much more about sliding down the slide than a staircase. So I have brought my own slides for the front and back axle. They've held up beautifully. They've done exactly what I wanted them to. And they're staying. This is a good modification. That's all for today. I'm going to play around a little bit more, but feel free to watch more. It's just going to be running video in the meantime. Everybody have a good week. I am very, very happy with this. We'll talk to you later. Another plate ride. Intentional. I'm going to run the diff right over the front of this rock with the intention, you heard it hit, took it right over the seam on the back. Here's a plate ride, but not a stick. There's a rear plate ride, not a stick. On the Vader plate, right at the point. How's that going to work? Right at the point. If anything, I should have made the front plate as wide as the frame, because it would protect more of the front steering links. That might be a version 2 that I do in a little bit later. I'll drive this one for a while just to get more data before I decide to do anything else. I go right over this point, do a plate ride. I'll try to ride every plate on the truck there. And actually I had clearance for the rear one. Intentional dumb line coming up. Point that right at that diff. Slid it right over. Right onto the Vader. Here comes another intentional skid plate ride. Okay. And I missed it. It was on the steering linkage. I should have made it wider. It would have provided more protection for that linkage. There, you heard it smack onto the slider. But it didn't stop it. Write down every plate it's got. Plated, just barely. Rear plate just slid. Every time you hear that ting ting sound, it's the front plate. I don't know if you just saw what my back tire did there, but it started looking all mushy. And when they go out around, that is your clue to get out of the throttle, or something bad's about to happen. Right there. It's a slide ride. Now it's down the center plate. Now it's down the rear plate. Does it stop? Nope, nothing hung. There's a rear slide. Pause for a second, but it let go. There's a plate ride under the Vader. My next skid plate will be much wider, front to back. I think that's the key to this whole thing. Protect the steering links. As much it protects the links more than the front of the diff, actually. I think what was stopping it was actually hitting the steering links more so than the axle. Here's some bonus content. This truck has dig. I can throw that into dig and lock the rear axles, so they do not turn, either one. One of the things I can do is on my 3-position switch coming out of dig, it is now if I put it in the right place, a freewheeling rear axle, so it's front wheel drive only, and that's pretty great. If you drive down into a V and the front's trying to come up while the back's still going down, the back is going to want to shove those front tires right into the face. So if you're going downhill and you want the front to climb, you don't want the back pushing. If the back pushes, it won't climb because it's literally drilling the front tires deeper. So I've set my truck up to have freewheeling rear axle. That way I can have front wheel drive only if I want. Then I can re-engage it or go back to dig anytime I feel like it. Just a neat trick. It helps when you start mainly going down into a V crevice where the front tires cannot rise yet because the back's still pushing downward. That's where it's beneficial. Anyway, that's all for today. We'll talk to you later.